Hey everybody, what is going on? My name is Blue and welcome back to the Tournament of Legends. This is Tournament of Legends Qualifier number 3, our European bracket for this weekend. Once more today, 32 teams are going to step up to the plate in hopes of qualifying for the main event for Tournament of Legends 2 happening later in August. The action already got started about 2 hours ago, but we're just now picking up for you on the stream from the quarterfinals. Joining me today, as always, is going to be Jebro, our EU correspondent for ToLs. How you doing today, Jebro?
I'm really good, man. I'm good. I'm pretty excited to start playing. I'm not going to be playing and streaming at the same time. Yeah, it's going to be an awesome game as well. With Exaltation and subs. But yeah, loads of teams, loads of prizes as well, and some good games, I think. Some good games.
Indeed. So once again here, very quickly going over some of the teams that we'll be seeing play today. First off, taking a look at our top 2 seeds today based on both weekly performance in ESL as well as team leaderboard rating. First off, the number 1 seed coming into today being Team Exaltation. And again, a lot of these teams are still somewhat newer. We don't know too much about these guys, so we have quite a few new faces, especially coming into this bracket today. But taking a look at Team Exaltation, again, a bit of a history for them, having 6 previous ESL Cups participated in, actually doing pretty good, beating up some of the more mid-tier teams in Europe, such as 5 Ronin and Don't Be a Maybe, but we're still having, based on their records on ESL at least, a little bit of an issue versus teams such as High Impact and Monks based on their match history, but still very good for, at least from what we see for a lot of EU teams. And of course, moving on from that, our second seed for today, coming into this tournament, is going to be Wiggy's Wicked Wang Gang, actually returning from ToL1, where they placed in the top 16 of that. They have only played in 3 ESL weeklies, but possibly having a little bit more of an impressive record, having taken games against teams like High Impact as well, and going up, but still, again, having issues with more of those higher tier teams such as CM and Monks too. So we're going to be seeing how those guys play off later today. We have our first game pretty much set up and ready to go here. The first one we'll be showing on stream. Jebber, what's that going to be for us?
It's going to be Exaltation versus the Yellow Submarines.
All right, Yellow Submarines is a new team as well. Jebber, have we seen them play before? Do you know anything about them? Or?
I've seen them in Team Q. They won their last game pretty strongly that I saw. Who was it against? But they won it pretty strongly. Whoever they were against, it was that's it. Scatterings of Africa. Actually, on my server, I think they were on Aurora Glade. Actually, GWSA. As their guild tag. So yeah, and they were a good bunch of guys, those guys. So yeah, Yellow Submarines, quite a confident win actually. So it'll be interesting. And also when you're a team that does play a lot of different teams, of course, you know, when a new team comes in, it's completely surprising. You don't know how they're going to play, and at the beginning, it's a bit, you know, of a surprise. They could just go for old school tactics, maybe just keeping 2 nodes. They don't actually know. They haven't really got a way to kind of scout them, if you know what I mean.
Of course. But once again, guys, we are going to head into the game cameras now for our first game, which we'll be having over here, of course, on the Forest of Niflheim here. Once again, Team Exaltation is going to be spawning on the red side, and the Yellow Submarines will be over here on the blue team. Jebro, let's take a quick look at the comps for each team here. First off, take a look at Exaltation. What do we see coming out from this team?
Okay, so having a look at Toad. I'll go over the builds. Let's do that, yes.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah. He's going to be the support bunker guardian. So in Guild Wars CS PvP, if you are new, this is the class that's going to be helping support your team. He'll probably be roaming to team fights, trying to cleanse those conditions, heal his team and give them stability, different boons, which are also going to help him, especially in this build, which is 01661 with the altruistic healing and also the pure voice being the main traits in this build. And he's also going to be using the Cleric's Amulet and also the Runes of the Soldier. As you can see, the shouts remove a condition from each affected ally, and the 6-piece obviously is just 1 rune, using the staff and also the mace with the focus, which is a very good offhand weapon for blocking and also causing some blinding there. Having a look at Angie War next, who's going to be playing the warrior. I'm wondering if he's going to be oh no, okay, he's going to be playing hammer longbow build. So this is the tanky stun AoE burning pain build that we see a lot in Guild Wars 2. If you're new to the game, you will definitely have played against this build before. Running with the Rune of the Holbrook Soldier's Amulet, 00626 in the trait spread. Kind of a typical build that we see a lot, running with those stances as well. Going over to ToL Prototype, we don't see a lot of Necros in Guild Wars 2 SPVP at the moment, really don't, and that probably makes ToL Prototype, you know, one of a kind, really. And he's actually moved back to his build that he was playing. He actually went to a 06404 build, I believe, in ESL in the past week. It was that ESL. Sorry. So this week he's actually gone 46004. Not opting for the whole Terramancer build there, going with the Rabid Amulet, the Rune of the Nightmare. So full conditions, some running with Rune of the Traveller to get that, obviously, that run speed. Going with the Staff, he's also going to be using the Scepter and the Offhand Dagger.
He's got a Rabbit Amulet there too, which is somewhat of an interesting choice, especially on North America. We see Karen Amulet being the mainstay for a lot of Necromancers in order to get up their health pool to a pretty high state of health there, and just in general having the high resistance to burst through the active usage of Death Shroud. So it's interesting to see him going for a Rabbit Amulet choice here.
I think he actually may have used Carrion Amulet on Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
I think he may have, yeah. I think that's right, though. Yeah, there's a lot of mixture between that. It's going for the toughness or the vitality, depending. Yeah. So having a look at Drazza here, he's going to be playing the Thief on this team. Going for the Shortbow, Dagger, and the Pistol. Also going for the Rune of Scholar, Berserker's Amulet with the trait spread of 60206. Going for the Panic Strike there, which is... This is going to be... It's going
to be very good for lockdowns and team fights, as well as if he's trying to chase any targets there. Again, Panic Strike, for anybody that doesn't actually know what that does, it'll give it 5.25 second immobilize when you strike an opponent below 50% health. So it's extremely good, especially against people that don't have Condi Cleanses. It'll be great against people like the Necro over there who don't really have too heavy access to things like Condi Cleanses. So we'll see a lot of that coming into play. I think in the team fights that'll be a pretty useful utility.
Yeah, you can really... As soon as they're under 50%, like you say, with that immobilize, it's just going to be picking your moments, and that's where you can really see people pick up people like targets with that build. It's really, really nice. So having a look at X Slasher, and this is the guy with the... Oh no, he's not actually. He does normally actually go with the greatsword, but he's not today. He's going with the axe, and he's also going with the sword with the longbow, going for the Rune of Strength and Celestial Amulet. So he's going to be using that Eviscerate quite a lot in this build. He's going with a 20606, running the full stances. Is also running Battle Standard, and just checking Angie War as well, also using Battle Standard. So we have two res utilities there, which are going to be, keep them in the fights for long. They're going to be quite a tanky team, really.
Overall here from the red team, we're seeing a pretty heavy emphasis on the team fights through, like you said, through the battle standards, through Drazza taking choice traits here like Panic Strike and things like that, and through the choice of bringing a Necromancer, which in itself seems to be a rather team fight focused decision there in the current meta. It is going to lead them focusing pretty heavily on the team fights compared to our blue team over here, which while they are doing something similar, is looking like they're much more of a kind of bruiser comp, again running with two warriors. It's actually, again, the comp that they're running, I think, they're running a pretty much identical comp over here on the blue team, but the builds are very much different as we take a look at things over here. For instance, Melkus the Tiny on Thief is going to be opting to take the 20066 build compared to the 60022 build, so he's not going to be, or 60026 build, as I believe it was. So again, this guy is not going to have so much damage. He's going to be getting a lot more of it as the team fights go on through usage of the Runes of Strength and stacking that up in the middle of the team fights. But he is going to be a much more peskier opponent and can kind of poke in 1v1s and stuff like that a little bit more too. You still have the two warriors and the Necro. Overall, like I said, though, very even team comp. Actually somewhat curious to see what we're going to see coming out of Ihan Kramen, as he seems to be running a power Necro. So that'll be very interesting as well. But I think we wasted enough time going over builds, Jebro, so I think we're just about ready to get started with game one.
Yeah, he's going to be switching that Golem out.
Possibly.
He's going to be switching it to... yeah.
More than likely, yeah. And more than likely, the Golem will obviously just be used for pregame, so we'll see that switch to Lich. But still, again, blue team, this comp in general here is actually pretty risky, now that we've seen that Ihan is also running with full Zerker Necro, which, again, we do not see that very often in this tier of play whatsoever. So that, again, is going to leave them, to be completely honest, very vulnerable in big team fight scenarios. If red team's able to get enough CC and lockdown on them, they're going to melt like a popsicle. So they got to be very careful on that sort of thing. But again, they also do have a Thief, so they can make up for that in rotations, which is going to be one of this map's strong suits. Starting off on this map on the forest, one of the big things that it does get is the fact that it's pretty easy to rotate around the map. It's pretty easy to kind of not get yourself poked into a hole there like can happen on legs or something like that. You can always kind of find a place to go to and maneuver around to try and get a fight going. So even if blue team doesn't end up getting themselves into the best position there at the start of the middle fight, I definitely think they'll be able to find something on the side notes. But anyway, guys, we are getting started now with game one, so let's open up our map, and Jebro, go ahead and take a look at the splits.
just having a look at Exaltation, the blue team, we're going to see the Thief and the Warrior Roscoe just kind of maybe crossing. Thief's thinking about it, is actually going to go up to mid. We're going to see Ted Prototype, we're going to see Drazzy just encounter the blue Warrior Roscoe just on the way to mine. Also, Melkus So Tiny is just trying to help the Warrior out, so he's actually evening out that fight, trying to go for the 2v2 there, but the Red have actually, X-Slasher has managed to capture the mine and probably could push up, but he's still not sure if anyone else is pushing over from the blue team. Blue team have capped their home node, and now we're going to engage on this mid fight, and we have seen someone, Roscoe has just literally gone down on the east side of the steps towards the keep at the moment. So building up to a team fight in mid, looks like Exaltation are going to potentially get a little mini team wipe, but we do see that the blue Necros actually jumped into the Lich form already, but with so many conditions
good
on him.
Lockdowns going on to Econ, to be completely honest. They're very good usage of that. Good usage of stealth here by members of the red team, specifically Drazzy. They're making sure to get out of the way of the Necro and to avoid that. Going in there, we saw corruptions going off onto the stability that Ehon had, and then immediately, again, after the Lich forms being popped, that's immediately going to lock him directly down. So far here, red team just having amazing control of the situation, and this is easily going to give them a very large advantage at the start of the game.
And they already know what he's running. So as soon as they see the Necro, he's going to be the prime target. Spief's just going to go in the, they know he's running Sword Dagger. So he's, it's just going to be tough for the Necro. He's going to have to kite around, be less obvious, maybe try and come up on the top of the point. And they'll probably start pushing towards the farm. Maybe that might be a bit too predictable, but we'll see as they come. There is an SR going down. We have seen the Blue Warrior Misjap going down on just below the keep point as well. And looks like we're gonna see the Blue Thief also retreating at the moment, potentially to actually go for the mine, but Slasher has actually been sticking on mine, and that's actually going to pay off for him, because I think the Thief's going to come in. Not sure that he's actually aware that Slasher is there at the moment. I don't think so.
There you go, he just seen him. Took him a second there, but they'll fall like. So overall here, talking about the overall split that we're seeing here from the red team at the moment, red team's going to play this very defensively, which again, based on the pretty team fight focused comp that they're running here, is a fairly smart choice. It does allow them again to keep a lot of the pressure back over here towards the front of keep, where they're already knocking people out, as you can see here too. Once again, little Yurdo and another one of the blue team's members is under pressure, even as red team pushes in. I don't think they're going to go for a full commitment. Drazzy's just overextending a little bit there to try and get a little bit of extra poke off, but he'll soon fall back. But once again here, red team going to be playing this very safe, focusing mainly on holding control of middle and the middle courtyard area, and then keeping their warrior planted back over towards home as well. Should allow them, assuming again that they're winning all their fights, to hold on to both of these nodes for probably the entire game. Whoa. Blue team may have to find an alternate route here in order to pierce through the red team shield.
Yeah, Drazzy just absolutely destroyed Melkus there on the blue team, the Blue Thief, and the Necro's gone down. So both main DPS have gone down in this team fight in mid already again, and they're really not having much luck here in this fight. But in all fairness, they're only like 80 points or so behind. Yeah. Exaltation not being very offensive, actually. They're just chilled. They just want to make sure, I think they're sussing out the tactics of the team.
Right now it's still fairly early into the game. We're still only I'd say about 3 minutes in here, so there's not going to be too much of a disadvantage. They do have to be careful of the snowball, however, obviously, again, now they've kind of wasted 2 team fights, and they're still really not making a concise effort to try and push for another point. And red team as well is starting to get a little bit more aggressive. Their Thief at the moment headed over there towards the Henge, and he should be scoring a decap at any moment now. Now we do have Russo over here back at far. He's going to be joined by the Necro and the Thief within a few seconds, but again, considering Russo had come into this fight probably about 30 seconds before the other reinforcements are coming in now, unfortunately red team was given plenty of an advance warning for them to actually get back here and reinforce it themselves. So that's something that blue team's going to have to change up here. They're rotating very slowly. They're sending people in kind of as the fights are going on, which is never really going to be a good formula if you're trying to surprise your opponents with a burst play. They might want to try to hold back here for a few seconds, go for a big regroup, and then try to push into one of these side notes if they want to surprise their opponent. They're still holding on to their home node, but unfortunately with the rotations they're doing now, they're probably never actually going to pierce through the veil that the red team has going here if they continue to do what they're doing at the moment.
Yeah, exactly. Just having a look at Drazzy, it looks like he's going to go for the boss kill. Now, if you're new to Guild Wars 2, boss kills will give you the 25 points. They'll also give your team plus 50 stats to all of your team members for a short time as well. And when the bosses spawn every 3 minutes from when they start the spawn, obviously, if they're dead.
Indeed.
Only. Just random loads of chieftains running around the place. That'd be quite entertaining.
Drazzy,
but look at
Draze is going for the 1-for-1, having a little bit of trouble there. Miss Jap catches onto it. Draze going to try his best to cut away, goes for the steal off the Jap, and is now going to, instead of going for the boss, completely bailing off the boss, actually. Just going to opt to go for the decap here instead, which, to be completely honest, is probably the wiser choice considering his team's position at the moment. They've got over a 150-point lead now. Those 25 points aren't going to mean much compared to the decap that Draze just got, and can probably keep now, to be completely honest, now that he has Jap off point. Jap's going to lose a lot of the advantages he gains on Hambo by fighting off a point here. So again, we're going to be seeing Draze have a little bit of an advantage in this skirmish until they can see Jap getting back onto point.
I think Dress is actually going to take him as well at the moment, and he's still. Oh no! Nah.
Again, that's
the
issue with the Thief on Hambo matchup there. With Jap being off the point, he doesn't really have a singular area where he can try to control the Thief, and he can't really hold his ground or anything like that. So the Thief is free to abuse him for the majority of that. Thankfully, obviously, he did get Russo coming in there to assist, but as you can see here, Draze still toying around with him a little bit is going to be a pesky little bugger here for the next few seconds.
And they've left the point open. A little bit of a mistake there. So yeah, even with two of them, I think even at this stage, they feel like maybe, I don't know, maybe they feel like they just want to kill Joseph. But blue team are now rallying back towards the henge to push out again, which is a nice idea, but at this stage of the game, they really need to be quite offensive. They've fallen quite far behind here now. I mean, you can even see some possibly cockiness coming out here from the red team as they've extended their bunker guarding completely over here into what is essentially a 4v1 on far in an attempt to get their Thief back up, which was a pretty reckless play, to be completely honest. If they actually managed to take him down, and this is still very good by ToL2 retreating out of here. Very good cooldown usage by him at the moment here. But again, if he does end up going down here, this could actually be pretty bad for the red team. But once again here, blue team is so far behind that something such as this isn't really going to hinder them all too much. Yeah, they're not going to be too worried. But I mean, it's a good idea. I mean, just as I think, you know, people are watching the blue side, they're not being as cautious as they would because, like you said, they've just got the point lead. But just to note the position of ToL Prototype, which, well, that he was on before he actually had to come down. Now, the Thief's doing what he probably should have done before. He's actually focusing Prototype as well. And jumping up there, but now he's not aware that the Necro's behind him, so he needs to be a little bit more aware of his positioning if possible. And same with the Necro on the blue team as well, just with the positioning, trying to get maybe some kind of just getting up the top like ToL Prototype is. He's doing a really good job, and like you said, he's really susceptible to damage, but he can get into Death Shroud quite quickly, gaining that life force as well a lot faster, and the Death Shroud skills are on a short cooldown, so it's not too bad for him, but they're struggling a bit.
Indeed. So once again, over here, Melkus will come in, should be able to stomp out the Prototype, but again, at this point, at this stage in the game, it's not really going to matter too much. Red team, they've still got ToL2 holding on a 3v1 over here at mid, and with that said, I think it's going to be pretty confident for us to say that Team Exaltation will be taking game one here. This will put them up 1-0 in the set, and one more victory away from a spot in the qualifying rounds a little bit later on today. Now, of course, we still have at least one more game coming up for you here. We'll be moving over to Legacy of the Qualifier in just a few seconds. So moving on to that map, Jebro, how do you think we're going to see things progress? Do you think again that we'll see Team Exaltation just lock it down like they did on this game, or do you think we'll see some pretty cool plays coming out from the Yellow Submarines to change up what is necessary in order to give them an advantage heading into that next map?
They need to really think about how they're going to position. Now, Necros can position well. Now, ToL Prototype's got the advantage of having the worm, so he can port out of those situations, those dangerous situations, quite easily. Whereas the blue Necro obviously can't. Submarine Necro, sorry. I think maybe Exaltation might push far this time. I think they might be a bit more offensive. I could be utterly wrong. They could just play this exactly the same way. To
be honest, pushing far wouldn't be a bad idea on this map. They're not, as we saw there in Game 1, their team fight is not really up to par. It's not something that is their strong suit based on what we saw there, at least on the initial mid-fights. I think it might be a better option, again, especially considering if they do decide to stick with that Power Necro, the Spike Burst potential they're going to have going on to far will be pretty big. But at the same time, the Power Necro is out in the field now. That's one of the most obvious things that can be revealed in your comp. You can really only surprise your opponents with that once, so I'm sure Red Team has something up their sleeve here too to try and negate that, as they're probably thinking the same exact thing going into this game.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, they've dealt with the Power Necro so well, and it's actually funny because on last week's ToL, I can't remember who it was, but there was a Power Necro, and one of the top teams, one of the top seeded teams, they didn't deal with him at all, and it was causing them really big problems. And this is one of the top teams as well. But it's nice to see Exaltation actually, taking that stability off, and they're sorting it out. They're proving that you know, they've got the stuff.
Yeah.
All that stuff.
Yep.
So he's probably using, it's probably actually to prototype who's taking that stability as well, just using that dark part of the Path of Corruption trait to obviously convert the boon into condition. So he's probably holding on to that until the Necro just pops up into Lich and he's going to nick that stability and they're going to destroy him.
Yep, and Draze, again, there you can see that because he has the steel traits, again, with Bountiful Theft coming into play here, it is going to make it pretty easy, to be completely honest, to counter out the Lich there, because the second that gets popped, as long as he has got the steel ready, and again, steel's a pretty short cooldown, I believe 20 seconds, but fully traded as he is, just got to wait for that to come up, and bada bing, no more Lich, no more problems.
Yeah, exactly, and they know how to, these guys know. They're just sorted, you know. And Drezi's going to be a pain. He's going to be a pain in this game. He's going to do exactly the same thing. He's going to bother them. And if blue team actually they sucker in and they pull everyone back to just fight one person, Drezi is not, all right, maybe he is. He did take 2 guys on, but he's not immortal. They've just got to be active all over the map. It feels like they need to split them up and just so that they can actually use Lich Form in a different way.
I think what we need to see coming out from yellow subs is more coordinated strikes, to be honest. Like I said, we were talking about this in the middle of the last game a little bit, but what we ended up seeing was they were pushing side nodes, but they were pushing side nodes as single players or smaller groups of 2 or 1 single players there. And that's just not going to work with the current strategy that Team Exaltation was running. Now, again, I don't know if Exaltation's going to go for the same thing on this map. Based on experience, the strategy they were running in the last map should work perfectly fine here. Speaking for Exaltation again, they should be easily able to get their home node and then hold mid as well. Now again, it'll take them a little bit longer to get mid just because of the way that this map works. It's a much larger midpoint, and as such, opponents can stalemate it very, very easily compared to the keep on the last map there. So we'll probably be seeing that going on for a little bit longer, but there's no doubt in my mind that Exaltation can hold off a similar strategy on this one. If that's the case, blue team can definitely play side node strats in my opinion, but it all has to come down to the coordination of their rotations. They need to push in larger groups of 2 or 3 players to side node points, not sending a single player over and then having the other 2 come over as red team is also reinforcing it. It's not going to be a good formula. Red team needs to outnumber, or apologies, blue team needs to outnumber their opponents, and they need to do it very quickly and use the spike burst potential that they have. If they waste that and spend all their time waiting to get into even fights, they're not going to win in the end of things. Red team has much better support, they have much better coverage all over the points, and if they continue to go for even fights, they are going to lose them, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I do think you're right about that as well. But maybe blue can get to 350, and they might surprise us with a Lord push. And guys, if you don't know, of course, in Guild Wars 2 in Qualifier, we have a Lord on each side of the map, and each Lord is worth 150 points, of course, to the opposite team. Kill the Lord, you get 150 points. So if you hit 350, you get 150 points, then you will be winning the game. So if you are new to Guild Wars 2, that is a different mechanic from the last map, and we are actually going to go into the game pretty much now.
Alright guys, so once again here, we're now coming into the second game of this set between Team Exaltation and the Yellow Submarines. Team Exaltation being up 1-0 means they are just 1 victory away from moving themselves onto the qualifying round. Yellow Submarines is at risk for elimination here, so they are under the pressure. But once again, the gates have opened and the game has begun. So Jebro, what's going on with these splits?
They're going defensive again, Exaltation.
Yeah, no surprises there.
They're gonna maybe.
You can even see too. You can even see too. They might have been prepping for that far push because they've got 3 of their guys heading towards home, so they were kind of ready for that. Fortunately for the blue team, however, that was a complete over preparation as they now have a 2v3 advantage. See, like right here, unfortunately, it seems Angie Wars did a nice job of locking down Ihan, but had Ihan had better positioning, that might have been a prime opportunity to just come right out with the Lich right there and then just go crazy on the Guardian. They might have been able to kill him, but it seems they've squandered that opportunity now as Ihan, unfortunately, being thrown into the middle of this team fight. They're just going to get absolutely decimated here by the majority of the red team. Thankfully, a banner was available to get him back up, but again here, he's way too close to the pressure from the red team, and he'll just fall right into the downstate one more time.
They didn't take advantage, like you said. I mean, and this is what's happening nearly on every single Qualifier map. We've seen the red team always stealthing on that point and having one. Sorry, well, the dogs go mental in the background. And then they push 2, just because all the teams seem to be pushing 3 points in the moment, even in Team Q. Everyone's started to be a lot more offensive, and blue team needed to take advantage of that really quickly, but unfortunately they didn't. But
Good lockdown on the Draze there. Yeah, we saw that one. Very excellent lockdown on the hair, but they are going to have to bring the Corpse Cleave in, and this is where blue team might suffer a little bit. They don't really have the Necro in play here at the moment, and yep, we're going to see Draze getting right back up. But again, good follow-up. They'll take Draze right back into the downstate again. Again, keep in mind, Draze is a key player here. Battle Standard being wasted as well, and following that almost immediately into a Lich play here from Ihan. Blue team Submarines going to play this now, taking down to Prototype, knocking him out. Might swing the team fight in their favor here now. MJ kind of try to come over here and get the res, but that's not going to be happening, and no, blue team will now take the advantage here as Toad again gets locked down. Excellent fight here by the blue team. Excellent rotations, excellent cooldown usage, and amazing callouts here from the blue team. Very, very good. They're going to take the mid fight.
How much damage did he just do in Toad?
That was very good, to say the least here. To be completely honest, what we ended up seeing there... Hold on, though. Wait. Things might get screwed up here a little bit. MS Jap goes into the downstate here. Draze tries to come in for the revenge play. Oh, but even he gets a bit greedy there, and he goes into the downstate now, too. Very well played here by the blue team. They are unfortunately wasting some time, though. Yurdo is. Yeah, Yurdo getting back onto the point now. A bit of a mistake there. It is going to cost them the full cap on mid, but still, again, this initial advantage is going to be very good for them, considering what we saw in the last game versus what the strengths and weaknesses are of each team here.
And look at Exaltation, one by one, rolling into the point. Here's Toad. They're only one cap, but Toad gets off that point, they're going to lose it. And ToL Prototype, you know, both their DPS are like out of this fight at the moment. And it's now free on Toad. I'm not sure that's a good idea, but they want to kill him fast to get the actual point, of course. I understand that as well, but that's going to give Red Team enough time to get... Oh, they got this. They actually got the cap.
Yeah. This is gonna be huge for Subs, because Subs is playing the strategy that Red Team does better, in my opinion. So with that said, keeping them away from being able to get that advantage here is going to be a pretty big boost. Now back over here at the waterfall, we do have some action going on. Draze trying to go in for a stomp. Rusko going to try to interrupt, but no, not happening there. Not sure what he was doing, but a big hesitation on his part cost him his teammate's life, and now he's going to be under pressure as Red Team now going to try to shift over to side point strats.
Yeah, now, but the thing is now blue team haven't rotated their Guardian out, and you can see him, look in the mid. He's just, you can see him edging.
Yeah.
And if they don't get him over there and rotate...
They're doing all right, though, to be honest. I mean, granted... actually, no, I gotta take that back, yeah.
No, they've got Angie down.
No, but look, Ihan's out of here. MS Jap can't really do anything, so it's not going to be good for them. They needed to have him over there. But again, they've gotten mid, and that's what's important. But... Again, with everyone being knocked out here, mid's actually probably going to be in some trouble here too, as Yurdo, along with Malicious, unfortunately probably won't be able to hold off 4+ inks from the red team on their own.
Whoa, and Melkus has actually gone over to X-Slasher. Maybe try. Nope, he's not going to try it. He did see Draze actually just popping up behind him, so that was a nice spot from him, looking behind him as he's going to the point. So that was a good idea. They need to really decide what they're going to do here. Are they going to go close? Are they going to go far? And it's probably just better to try and get their close point. And also, almost, Melkus taking down Draze there. Yeah. Potentially,
Draze,
and then Roscoe sneaking in from behind.
Draze at the moment is trying to play the role of a very typical thief hunter, where he's roaming around the map, trying to find low targets to try and snipe out on the roads, and then very quickly going into the team fights as they're already progressing and taking out the targets that are low. Unfortunately, however, it seems that blue team, up to this point at least, has had very good coverage on all of those points, and because of that, when Draze tries to go for a lot of those engagements, he does end up finding another blue teammate kind of waiting by and can deny Draze of a lot of the damage there. So Draze gonna have to readjust himself a little bit here, but now once again heading into this fight at the quarry, he's probably gonna find an opportunity to score a kill again if he can get a lockdown onto Ihan. But again, Ihan, very nicely done here, immediately spots out Draze and gets some more damage onto him to force him away for the time being.
Yeah, and actually just looking at Prototype, he just rotated into mid for a second. He's just on the blue Fifas now as well, now as we're talking, and Blue Guardian's doing a good job at just supporting anyone that's coming through, having some struggles. But ToL Prototype's now going over to Waterfall. They needed to communicate that and move their thief over quicker. He is starting to move over as well to equal it up to a 2v2, which is very, very good for them. But unfortunately, it does look like the blue team are losing that fight over on the quarry. They have been wiped over there, and Roscoe needs to try and escape and get to mid, because if he dies there, that's not a good spot, because the Guardian is currently off node as well as the thief. So mid is open, and they're going to get a decap possibly. Is Roscoe going to get on?
Melkus can't get on. Roscoe, it just gets on there. Roscoe's going to be in some trouble, though. He's got to stay on here at least till the Guardian can get there, but thankfully that'll be the case. So stepping back here, and whoa, very good burst there by Melkus, but unfortunately, oh, wow. We're seeing lockdowns left and right here, but Melkus goes down. Anyway, to talk about what we wanted to talk about there for a second, this is where blue team needs to be very careful, because now they've gotten that advantage, or rather they had that advantage up to this point, and have now lost it. And that was a bit of an adrenaline rush for them, I feel, getting that mid fight. I don't think they were honestly expecting to take that. So now they need to take a step back here, reevaluate themselves, say, all right, guys, we got that, but now we've been falling behind again. Let's get focused. Let's find another strategy. Let's find another hole we can poke through, and do that very quickly. That's our strong suit. That's what we need to play. And they are starting to do that now, but it seems as though they've made the wrong choice of a point to push here, as they are walking once more into a big even fight with a lot of tanky red team players here, which they may end up losing, to be honest.
The problem is, it really feels like they just need to put their warrior on mid, you know, and get that extra support and condition removal that they need.
They've done that. They've done it too late, though. That's the thing. Again, their Guardians rotating into the fight probably about 20 seconds after it already started, and after one of their members already got knocked out of play there. So they've got it in play now, but they're already weakened, and they're already started to use a lot of their cooldowns in this fight. So overall, it's going to lead to them being weaker over the long course of it. But we'll still have to wait and see, as Draze, once again, there did end up getting locked down. He's in the downstate. We got a double res coming in here from the red team at the moment. Very quick double res gets Draze back up, though. Melkus also in the downstate, but thankfully blue team's got a banner ready for him, so they're going to get him right back up into play here. And once more, the team fight will continue without any team taking a serious advantage for the time being. But obviously, with red team controlling this double cap, they are still in a pretty hefty lead here, with the current scores being 360 to 278.
Almost got a decap. They got almost a half decap on that wall before those ToL just wandered off point. Now, what could happen is, because the score's still really under 100 points, it's possible for them to go, but they need to stop feeding them kills, because they're stretching that lead, and the more they're feeding, the less chance they've got of going for a Lord Rush. And if the other team hit like 435, 440, unless they're going to burst down that Lord fast and they're near 350, they ain't got a chance in hell of winning this game at the moment. And they really need to try to not feed these kills so much, and maybe
they've slipped, I think. They've basically they've slipped up on the lead there. They got that mid cab, like I was saying, but now they failed to readjust, and they failed to properly rotate for the second time here to get themselves to where they can take an advantage. They've been rotating into a lot of fights where I honestly don't think they should be at, and it has caused them a lot of lost fights. However, it seems red team has made a similar mistake back over here, as now with ToL and Angie War surprisingly going out very quickly next to each other. We are going to see Jap staying back here getting the cap. Now Ihan will still go down to Condi's, and hold on, this team fight, I honestly don't think this fight's over just yet. Jap will take a pretty hefty portion of the cap,
mobilizer point on tip prototype.
We've got so many bodies on the ground here right now. Ihan's down. Ihan's going to get back up, though. Draze's down. Draze's completely dead, but on point 2. You take a look, it'll end up being a 4v1 if everyone commits in just a second here, which means the prototype's going down, and blue team will finally get their 2 cap back. Now again, red team's going to push back in here, but if they can kill prototype quickly enough, they can still get the cap here anyway. But unfortunately, no, that's not going to be happening. You've got Angie War coming in there with Zerker stance pop. No mobilizes will go off onto him, and once again, he's just going to deny the cap. But now this is where blue team could take a pretty hefty advantage. They can honestly send 1 or 2 guys back over to their far point now and get a decap onto that, because now again red team's at this scrambled position. Now red team needs to keep people on this point to make sure blue team doesn't cap this and get a double cap. At the same time, at all honesty, red team can stick to their home node and hold on to that, and I think they may be overcommitting to this waterfall point just a little bit, but we're going to have to see how that works.
Exaltation is actually going to go down quite soon. He's got support from Drazik, but Drazik is going down almost to cleave there. He's going to heal. It's going to come off point. Slash is going to go down. They can get a decap. They can really come back into this. There's no way they can go for a Lord push now. It's really too late. But with 3 of them coming onto the point, Exaltation are going down. I don't think they're going to be able to get that res. They need to get some cleave down to put some.
They might do. I don't know. Russo's in some trouble here too. Rusko getting hit up pretty hard. Lots of Connies on him. That'll take him into the downstate. Melkus is also down, and with Melkus and Russo going into the downstate here, we're going to see Melkus go down first. That'll get Slatcher up, and I think that'll be the end of it, guys, here, with Rusko going down and Slatcher staying behind a decap, and unfortunately the fight at Waterfall going nowhere anytime soon. It looks like we are going to be seeing Exaltation after a very good recovery there, although once again, excellent play at the start by Yellow Submarines. Team Exaltation is going to take a 2-0 victory here in our first game of the day at ToL2 Qualifier number 3 for the European servers, and as such, they will be moving on to take on, I'm not exactly sure who they'll be playing just yet. Let's see if that actually got updated as of yet. Looks like, yeah, we actually do have it. So Team Exaltation is going to be taking on Husaria in the qualifier match a little bit later on today.
Okay. Interesting. And actually, that was almost a completely different team we just saw, really, in my opinion.
Yeah, it was an amazing improvement.
Oh, blinding improvement. Yeah, exactly. I mean, what they could have done a lot earlier is, I think if they'd gone for a Lord push, they might have pushed it. You know, it was a bit too close to 500 for them to just kind of think, oh, we can come back and win this, because I don't think that was going to be happening. They should have maybe tried to take advantage of that, Lord. But, you know, I think they got so locked down in that waterfall fight. It became so messy for everyone. Like you said, I think you said there was bodies everywhere. People came down all over the shop. There was
a lot of chaos. It happens quite a bit there, where teams will get towards the end of a fight and teams will kind of go, whoa, hold on, guys, we got people all over the floor. It happens a lot towards the end of the game too. It's just because, again, everybody's trying to get a point. Like the strategy, this happens a lot. When I used to play on teams, this would always happen too. Is that, again, you'd get towards the end of a game, and because of how close or how drastic it may seem, your whole entire plan just starts to fall apart because everybody's panicking, everybody's trying to do their own thing, everybody's trying to do what they think is best for the win, and it can cause some crazy situations like that.
Yeah, no, it was a great game though. Good stuff, good fun. Well done to Submarines, to be honest, because Exaltation is one of the best teams in the EU, and I think they performed really well in that last game. So thank you to them for coming. Hopefully we'll see them in some more tournaments.
All right, guys. Well, we are going to take a short 10-minute break here. We're going to be giving away one of our llamas while we are away, so make sure you're keeping an eye on the chat. Make sure you are following the channel in order to win that llama, but all you're going to have to do is once we set it up, once we say go in the chat, don't do it yet, but once we say go in the chat, all you're going to have to do is put hashtag Llama Legacies, all one word, into the chat, and you'll be entered to win. We'll be picking the winner and sending them their message while we're away, and we'll announce the name of it when we do come back, guys. But once more, we're going to take a 10-minute break to get our next game in the arena and set and prep to go, which will end up being True Extinction versus Wings of Change, two teams we have not seen play before. So that is definitely looking forward. So that is definitely something to look forward to, guys. But once more, we will be right back with more of ToL2 Qualifier number 3 in just a few minutes.